All it is rams butting heads till one of them, loses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
but ultimately we all lose, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, even the ones who think they won.
Yeah. I mean, is Obama enjoying his job right now? I'd say absolutely not.
But he has a lot of good cocaine.
Oh, my God.
Keep him busy, right? I mean, what is his job really? Just a mouthpiece for the corporations.
Maybe so. And so it is by design. And I don't, that becomes so cynical when we head down that path, and I understand. Mm-hmm. But so the question becomes then, because how has this happened? Instead of back in colonial times where you had, town hall discussions and they would all arrive at a solution and say, okay, let's all get behind it. And then there was Weird Harry and Weird George who said, well, I'm not going to do it no matter what. But that was only 2 out of 50, At least the vast majority found the best solution. We have been effectively, again, look at the result. Any popular vote for president is, I've never seen it 70-30. Have you? I've never heard of one. I mean, it's usually like 51 or 52. And then if it's 53 or 54, it's considered a landslide. Landslide? Are you kidding me?
Professional wrestling. I mean, it's just like the Super Bowl or overtime basketball. If we reduce it to the absurdo reductum. Here, Benjamin Franklin tried to show it to us. He says, democracy, we've all heard this, most listeners will have, a lot of your listeners have heard it. Democracy is 2 wolves and a lamb voting on what's for lunch. That's a pretty good description of it.
And liberty is different. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote.
Mm-hmm.
So democracy, everyone thinks democracy is the best way. But if there's 100 people, pick 100 of your neighbors, and you all vote on something, and 52 of you decide, yes, we're going to decide to put the $5,000 roofs on our houses, and 48 of you say, no, we don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Those 52 just told those 48, you have to do it, because we're the majority.
Yeah, or you're not allowed to clip your hedges or park in your driveway, or
you have to wear your hair this way. You have to worship God this way. You can't do this. You can't do that.
But we're free, Tobias. I mean, don't you remember?
That's right. We're number one. We're the best country in the world, and we're the only ones that are free, and everyone else is stupid.
Yes.
Nice programming. No, feel that one. No wonder there's shootings at HOA meetings, because that's it in a microcosm. When you see it, when you reduce it to the absurd level. Imagine this. How about this? We'll just bring it this way. There's 6 guys and 2 girls that go out for an evening hanging out. At the end of the night, there's a vote taken at whether we should have sex or not. Gee, it's 6-2. Hey, the majority rules. Girls, lay down and spread them. We got to do it.
Oh, no.
That's democracy. That's democracy. Come on, it's democratic vote. We took a vote. One person, one vote.
Yes.
This is just showing how ridiculous that is. Democracy is tyranny of the majority. And that's what we've fallen into. When you have 52%, by the way, most Americans have no clue that they don't really vote for president. Now, that's on purpose, right? Most Americans have no clue that they don't vote for president. Yes, I do. I voted for so-and-so. You don't vote for the president. You vote for something called the Electoral College. Most Americans have no clue what that... First of all, most Americans can't even pronounce it, and most Americans have no clue at all what it is. If I go out now, if Jay Leno goes out with his, man on the street stuff and asks, what is the Electoral College? Isn't that some college in Indiana? Don't they play football? And that's on purpose. That's on purpose. That is on purpose, to keep us stupid. Absolutely.
Yeah, because we don't feel so bad when we hear like a fourth-year, third-year political science major who doesn't know the Secretary of State or, oh goodness, he picked some winners. But it is that time, so we will be right back after this short break. Stay tuned, Truth Brigade Radio. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com with Tobias Lars talking about, is our political system completely broken? Tobias, you are on fire tonight. I don't want to interrupt, but we have a caller, area code 941. Welcome to the show.
Go ahead.
Hi there, caller. 941 area code. You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is Ron Angel. I listened to some of your show. Thank you so very much.
Hi, Ron. How you doing tonight?
Well, we're hanging in there, given the fact of, Tobias was saying, the not able to be woken up issue is extremely complicated. And it's disheartening to know that weapons have been put in place since the 1920s to actually control the human brain to such a horrific degree. Google has over 13,000 satellites in space, and there's other communication satellites as well as things that we thought were for peaceful purposes like telescopes and that are beamed back on us that are actually monitoring and controlling human beings very, very efficiently and horrifically with supercomputers.
And you know what, Ron?
Yes?
And you know what, Ron? The really cool thing is that our bioelectric field, our God computer, our source computer, our Holy Spirit, our Holy Ghost, our Kundalini, our literal energies inside us trump any mechanical device, anytime, anywhere. But you're right.
That is true, but I live in Florida in a little company by the name of SciTech. If you want to know who's doing it, it's Laura Eisenhower, the granddaughter of President Eisenhower, knows for a fact who's doing it. It's a little group, well, actually it's quite a large group called the Aviary, and Colonel John B. Alexander and Oliver North and some other horrific, they're birdmen. They're not, a.k.a. birdmen. They experimented on how to control birds. They're the ones that are doing it to us and to her. And the equipment in Florida is so severe because they wanted to control the election that everyone here is basically a slave. They'll retire from the north or the east, come to Florida. Disney World, the Department of Defense, and NASA and Hollywood have all merged here in one giant. It's called the NASA Project Bluebeam, and everyone here is suffering unless you're one of their minions that go along with the genocide. There's a hidden genocide going on. That's why people aren't stepping up, because they're hiding the numbers, they're killing these people, and they're absorbing their Social Security and their Medicaid into one giant weapon against humanity for their global genocide agenda, which has been around, by the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds for quite some time, and they're implementing it. And it's awful to see this, to see the empty houses, to see child and young people slaves here in Florida, to know what's going on. And I wish that was the case.
I hear you, Ron. I hear you, Ron, and I know of her. What's her first name? Trish? No, what was her name? The Eisenhower granddaughter.
Laura Eisenhower.
Laura,
Colonel John B. Alexander wrote about her. That's her direct torturer for 20 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And that can't be denied. Now, here's my little voice on this is this. The first thing I said is we have to be careful, Ron, because as you said, it's very disheartening. I spent 3 years in a black hole about 15 years ago. My friends thought I was suicidal. I went through a divorce, and my ex-wife was just afraid, took out a life insurance policy on me, blah, 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 because I was seeing...
Well, that's what mine did. $3 million tied to the house. Unbelievable.
Right. And
there were life attempts on me, too. Yeah, my ex-wife tried this. Unbelievable.
Right.
What they tried to do.
And the world thought that from the outside, because once you start seeing this stuff, it can be overwhelming. It's sort of like you don't give calculus and the details of something to a 3-year-old. They just can't handle it. God can handle all of it. Masters can handle all of it. And when we're ready, sort of God pulls back the veil and says, you need to see the crap that goes on behind the scenes here. And that's very, very shocking.
Do you know that he's bugging out tomorrow with 40 warships? He's taking, I think, 3,500 people with him, armored vehicles. He's leaving tomorrow, the U.S. Did you know that? Is that not scary?
Is he going on a trip?
It's unusual, but I don't know.
So I just want to suggest, Ron, don't let it overwhelm you. It's a fine line. We need to remember that the creator of butterflies and flowers and dogs and elephants and us and our hearts and our brains, that creator, the God of the universe, the source energy, whatever you want to call it, is bigger than any Borg devices. And we haven't seen the half of it yet. You know, the implant brain technology that's coming is,
it is fully in place in Florida. It is fully, they have worked. Florida was the beta test. It is beyond, fully roboticized policemen walking like toy soldiers. They can completely change a person.
Yeah. And so my interest is to reach enough of us and put the seed in people to remember, just like Joshua ben David tried to do, and every true teacher does. I'm not comparing myself to him in any way.
Oh, hold that right there. I'm sorry. We are out of time, but we will be right back after this short break. Tobias Lars on Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com with Tobias Lars. Top of the second hour here. And Tobias, we have a real short segment here, but, you know, I agree. All of those things, I mean, what he's saying is going on. It is happening, but I don't believe we have to succumb to the fear.
Here's what I feel. That dark night of the soul that I went through for 3 years, whatever, I didn't feel suicidal, but the world looked at it that way. When we start dealing with these deep, dark things inside ourselves, who here doesn't have issues? We've got stuff, you know. On this planet, we're working out our stuff. We're working out our subconscious crap and crud. Now, you have to be careful in those places. If you get overwhelmed by it, it's basically suicidal. You decide that it's so dark, so horrible, it's also controlled. Everyone's mind controlled. The police mind controlled. My neighbors are mind controlled. My parents, my kids. I'm hopeless. Satan has won. I might as well kill myself. That's the place you don't want to end up in. So you have to do this gradually. Like with your friends and family or people you meet, if you tell them too much of this stuff at once, they're going to label you a nut job, lunatic, fringe, kook, and they're going to enjoy seeing you get put away. All right? You've got to pretend to be normal, or at least not push the boundaries too far, unless that's your job. Some of us have a job, like Marilyn Manson. Because I kind of really like his music, actually. But if your job here is to shake it up, you know, like Jim Morrison or somebody, but you can work from the inside and appear totally normal and be a complete reformer. You can be a reformer or a rebel, either way. But know what you're dealing with. When you stir the hornet's nest, the bees are going to come after you. So if you start shoving the at the powers that be, they're going to, if you start having a powerful effect, they're going to come after you. It's just how it works. So there's several ways of working this. If you go over the lunatic fringe binge, if you immediately tell people about MK Ultra and child kidnapping and you know, presidential families having boy sex slave rings inside the White House. If you do that, unless your name is Kathy O'Brien and it's your job, or, you know, David Icke doing his reptilian thing, it's just going to be way too far out for most people. Doesn't mean it's not true. It's truth is stranger than fiction. And but you have to do it gradually, just the way God gradually lets us wake up. He doesn't tell you when you're 12 years old the whole thing. God doesn't sit you down and go, here's what's going on, mind control, genetic cloning, horrible ET stuff, all this stuff's going on. If you were 12 and God told you that to your face, you wouldn't survive. So the real loving thing and the smart thing and the right truthful thing is to tell the truth in the bite-sized pieces that the person you're talking to can handle it.